Water Buffalo TM is back with another Buff Talk.
3, 2, 1. What's going on, guys? It's Old School Matt here. We're back with another Buff Talk. We got a special guest on the show tonight, Mr. Tate, Andrew Tate on the podcast. Just kidding, Nick Franklin.
We're starting?
Yes, we are.
Hold on, where's the powder girl? I need a... Can you bring her over here?
What's a powder girl?
Wait, don't record this. We'll restart.
Wait,
no, I'm just playing. All right.
Nick Franklin's in the house. We got Jaime Londono in the house.
That's a bad joke.
Long time middle school colleague. And we're just having a podcast tonight. So it's been a while, Nick. How's everything been, bro? Where you been at? Nick's been MIA. I haven't seen him in so long.
Yeah, life will sometimes do that to you. But yeah, so just to go off of that, this is my friend Jaime. He's basically like my brother. Known him for years now. And, well, life in general, it's been kind of crazy recently. A lot of learning, a lot of mistakes. That's kind of what happens when you're in your 20s. You go through a lot of different, stages, different learning things, stuff like that. But recently we just been figuring out a lot about ourselves, whether it's fitness, life in general, just trying to really strengthen our mentality, and prepare ourselves for the person, we're supposed to grow into.
Definitely. Yeah, Nick and I haven't seen each other in how long? Probably a couple months. We used to work out at least once a week together. But it's always a good time to have him on. I haven't seen Jaime. I feel like I've seen you like within the last couple of years, but we went to middle school together, so it's been a while. How you been, Jaime? How's everything been?
Good. Just finishing school, working for FedEx, hit a couple mailboxes here and there.
Yeah, before the podcast, we were talking about some funnier type of stories that Jaime might have about FedEx. So what's your experience with working with them?
Man, latest one was like 3 days ago. I went and I was just working. This construction guy was like, oh yeah, go ahead, back up. And then just boom, hit the water pipe. Whole explodes like a water park over there.
Really?
Yeah.
And what happens? Are you like liable for that type of stuff or?
No, so the contractor pays for it. He's the one that takes care of everything. Okay. Thankfully, the company was willing to work with him, and he's like, yeah, like just fix the pipes, call it a day.
So how is that when you work for FedEx or like I guess working for one of those companies? Because a lot of us use services like Amazon and all those different type of things, but we don't really know what goes into it. Like how complex is doing that? Like the routes and stuff like that. Is it super?
They usually have iPads. So like
okay.
Amazon and all them, they have like GPS iPads that just tell you like, hey, you got to stop here, you got to stop there, and you just keep going on and on throughout the day. I know Amazon, if you don't complete 30 stops an hour, they're like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are you not doing it? Why are you falling behind?
Okay.
For us, it's just like, hey, you work on your own time. Like, if you want to go to the bank, you go to the bank. You want to eat, go to eat. As long as you do your pickups, that's all that matters. I think UPS is the same thing.
Okay. Nick, what about you? What have you been up to lately?
I mean, when I do my runs, I kind of just get all my runs done first, and then I go eat after. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, this podcast in general is kind of going to be just all over the place. We're just kind of having almost like a podcast reunion. We haven't really made one in a while, so bear with us. I mean, there's a lot we're going to talk about, but I mean, if we're talking about, career-wise situation, right now, I mean, I've been doing a lot of overnight work as security just because it's more convenient for me to do it myself. You can set up your own schedule, basically. So I've been doing that just in the meantime, but been trying to get back on track with my whole fire paramedic thing. That's been a big issue for me, but I know at the end of the day, it's definitely going to be another next step in where I'm going to, want to be. So I'm kind of just taking it day by day, Like I said, recently I've been learning so much just about, mental strength and how to control your emotions and all that other stuff. So it's been a bit of a journey, but starting to kind of put it all together one by one and, continue to move forward with it. So definitely a lot of things in the works, but, as far as that goes right now, that's where we're at.
What are some stuff you learned recently about mental strength and whatnot? Because that's obviously something, that I try to talk about a lot in my personal content, stuff like that. What are some different things you've been learning along the journey?
So for one, I mean, me especially, I tend to overthink a lot. Like I'm a big overthinker, and I know a lot of people can agree with that. So when it comes to overthinking, you can find yourself putting yourself in these holes or, for say, these mentalities where you're just constantly, too hard on yourself, and you're beating yourself up for every little thing. And, when you do that to yourself, nothing good's going to come out of it. To start off with anything, you have to really just kind of almost, I guess you can say, love yourself, like understand, how you work and, when it comes to your mentality, how, certain things affect you, certain things don't, it really just depends on who you are in general. But for me, I think, just learning to keep those little things out and not taking things too seriously and, just taking it day by day and not overthinking my future or, overthinking my past and stuff like that. Because that was always a big issue for me. I found myself just overthinking about the future and the past too much. And if you can just come to the realization that like you're in the present, just focus on the now and, strengthen yourself there. And I mean, still think about the future. You still got to think about your future a lot, but just don't beat yourself up over, not being where you are. Because I know for a fact that's one thing we all suffer with, and we, critique ourselves for not getting what we want done or things not turning out the way we want it to. And, you kind of just got to enjoy life, enjoy the journey. Because if I can put it into one simple term, that's probably, or one simple sentence, that's the way to go, is just enjoy the journey, because everybody's journey is different, but, there's going to be a lot of obstacles, a lot of different things that are going to challenge and test you on the way. And you just have to be prepared and, understand them. As long as you understand the obstacles after you get around them, that's what really counts, because you won't make that mistake again, or you won't run into that obstacle again if you understand it, the correct first time. And sometimes you're not going to understand it the first time. Sometimes you're going to have to learn once or twice or do it again.
Yeah, but you don't think social media influences that? Like when you look at other people like your age, you're like, oh snap, he's going this far.
100%.
Or like you're looking at other people that you don't even know, and you're just like, damn, an 18-year-old is a millionaire.
Yeah, no, social media for sure too is definitely another big influence on people's lives.
Posts that are like, hey, you got to do this by this age, to be like at this point.
100%. Yeah, no, that's another thing too. Social media is such a powerful tool, but if you look at it the wrong way, it could turn into a negative tool, where it could start, making you think worse and not benefit you, in a sense, if you kind of know what I mean, like going off of what you were saying, whether it's looking at other people, that's a whole nother thing too. You can't watch other people or other people's success too much. Like, you
can't compare to other people.
Exactly. Like, it's good to have mentors. It's good to have people that you look up to. It's good to have people that make you want to be better. But at the end of the day, you have to just focus on your journey and, what you're doing with your journey. Because everybody's book and everybody's chapter is going to be totally different. Like, you may blow up at 18 with what your dreams are, and some people may blow up 10 years later with what they want to do. Like, when it comes to your success, you can't base it off of watching other people's success. That's definitely one way to find yourself in a downfall.
For sure. I was going to say, like, even going back to where we all have something in common, it was like middle school. We all went to the same middle school. Like, when it comes to kids nowadays, we didn't really face that same social media type of pressure, right? Mm-hmm. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Like, I could see how that can... I mean, I guess Instagram was around when we were younger, but...
It was still like the developing phase. It wasn't that bad.
Definitely. What do you think about that? What do you think about kids nowadays? Compared to, like, what we were dealing with in middle school in terms of problems and shit.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, this is where Matt comes in. He has to bring me back to shore to make sure my thoughts are on the right track.
I'm just curious, because something we all shared in common. Was we all
I feel like usually we just played outside. Like, all of our problems like, hey, let's go to the basketball court. Or, like, if we play, like, video games or stuff, it wasn't as bad as it is now. Like, now you just go and you hop on Call of Duty and all of a sudden you're getting chewed out for something that you might have not even done. Back then it was just like you play with your friends and that's it. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely has its positives and negatives like everything. The advantage that these kids have nowadays is, bro, they're literally learning about stocks and trading and crypto and stuff like that at 12 years old. I mean, if you're already trading stuff at 12 years old, I mean, that's a great way to start. So I think, the positive side of it is it allows kids to get a head start with things they want to do or, say business, a business aspect of it, if they're trying to, become an entrepreneur or something, they can definitely learn a lot of things from Instagram or social media in general. But at the same time, it's like having all this access to stuff at a young age. You may, not be watching the best of, content all the time, because there also is still going to be, a lot of crap on social media and the internet that is not going to be good for people at that age, to see. But I mean, I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's crazy the fact that like 12-year-olds or, whatever age we're in middle school, is like 11 to like 13, can invest and become like millionaires by the time they're 18 years old if they do the right things. I mean, think about the type of shit that we were spending our money on in middle school and shit.
Jordans,
like,
the line to get Jordans all the time.
I never, investing was never really a thought in my mind until I was like at least 19 or 20 years old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely never thought about buying a digital picture on the internet for hundreds or thousands of dollars for sure.
But it's crazy because, like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, there might be more pressure for kids nowadays in terms of like Instagram and like social media and shit like that. But nowadays they have so much more opportunity as like young kids to like do shit. Yeah. Like that's crazy to me. And that kids are we were happy making like $7-8 an hour when we were younger. 14, 15, 16 years old. I don't know. Did you guys have jobs when you guys were in high school? Did you have a job?
Yeah. I had I've had a bunch of jobs. I mean, I've done construction. I've worked for party companies. I've done, putting in hurricane-proof doors. I've worked valet. I mean, I've done a lot of different things, but I think that's definitely a good thing to do as a young person as well, though, is just kind of get out there and explore everything that you possibly can just to experience it. Experience is, to me, one of the best teachers in the world. I think just learning for yourself and going through the experience is sometimes exactly what someone needs. So, I mean, just going off of that aspect, you can really, put yourself ahead a couple years if you spend, a couple years just going to and doing a lot of different things instead of just focusing on one thing. Sometimes doing multiple things at once is beneficial, but it really depends on where you're at and what your situation is, because sometimes it can be tough trying to do multiple things at once.
Definitely. But another good thing too that I was thinking when you were talking about people's timeline on their life and whatnot is like the fact that we all live like so much longer than before. So like our life expectancy is probably going to be a lot closer towards the hundreds.
Is that true?
I
thought it went down. I thought people were...
Yeah, I mean, people that are out of shape and like, are dying of whatever disease.
There's just so much crazy shit nowadays like that. Because that's another thing too. Social media is so powerful that, I mean, it's even come to a thing where like certain trends can be very dangerous or unhealthy or not very smart, but people will still do them just because of that. I guess it can be an addiction to, I don't even know what you would call it. It's kind of like an addiction to just attention, almost like people will do something just for the views or just for the likes and, certain things like that. So I guess that can go on the side of negative aspects when it comes to social media. But
what do you guys remember about middle school in terms of like social media? I remember Facebook and I remember Instagram.
Facebook was a big
but
one.
Instagram was like really new.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
And it was
MySpace was still kind of there.
I never had a MySpace.
No.
But yeah, Facebook was big, but it was crazy because like we never had access to that all day long. It was more like when you got home from school and shit like that. Like I didn't have a smartphone until I was like in high school.
I know. Yeah. Nowadays they're
kids
10
all day long.
Now it's like FaceTime the whole time.
I know, it's crazy. And the amount of screen time kids are getting, I'm curious to see it's going to create a lot of people that are very like introverted and like very socially awkward, and people are going to be like the benefits of having the internet at your hands is like they're going to be a lot more wealthy at a younger age, but they're also going to be a lot more socially awkward. Like people are going to be like, they're not going to know how to communicate with other people. People are going to be getting on Tinder and dating apps in like high school. Like I don't know if you guys ever got on dating apps in high school, but kids are doing that. They're doing the Juul and stuff. We never really had that in middle school. I know kids smoked weed, but I never.
Nicotine's a bad habit.
It is a bad habit, so don't do it. But
don't.
But kids are in middle school are like
don't do what we do,
doing vaping and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's to me that's crazy that kids have vapes in middle school.
I know, dude. It's like when we were that age, it's 13, 14, you know, you're smoking weed, doing whatever. Like, wow, that's really young. Nowadays, it's even worse. Now it's like they're 11, you know, 10 years old, smoking weeds, selling vapes, and, you know, going crazy. And it's like, damn, I mean,
there's going to be
just so much access to so much. It's like, golly, it's going to be interesting.
We barely had phones. I mean, if we had the phone, it was like the iPhone 6 or something like that back then.
Yeah, probably even like iPhone 4 when it had before the lightning charger.
One.
Yeah. I remember like getting my first iPhone. I think it was like high school, but before that, it was like you would text people a lot, but the screen time like was not there, like because you didn't really have anything to check. You know what I mean?
It was like the Sidekick too, the one that you flip up and you have the whole keyboard. Right there.
Yeah, and that was like the shit too. But now kids have like the iPhone 13, and it's crazy because I remember when we were in middle school, kids used to fight a lot. You know if you guys remember that in high school or middle school, like fighting was like a big thing. Kids would always fight like every day after school.
The bus stop.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had their fair share of fight hype in middle school and high school.
But I came across a page on Instagram. It was actually Emerald Cove. It was like Emerald Cove fights or something like that. And kids are like with their iPhones.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what's crazy to me is like there's so much exposure to like online content at such a young age. Is like everyone's so interconnected through that.
Yeah.
And those kids are starting to mature. When I say mature, they're starting to like see the real world at such a young age that sometimes I don't know if they're ready for that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Their mind's not there yet.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, if there's a positive like thing you can say about it is one thing that I definitely know for sure about social media and the positive side of it is that you literally can express yourself in any way, shape, or form, how you feel or what you think about, like what you love, what's your passion, or you can express yourself just as it is on those platforms. So I think it can be a breakthrough for a lot of people that have gifts in certain areas, and you know it doesn't cost them very much to show these gifts or talents or abilities on the internet, and so that can be a good thing for a lot of people. You know,
you can find your own little bubble through social media.
That's true.
You know, so that's a good thing about it. But you know, the mind is very sensitive, bro. So like, I think we'll always continue to, you know, figure things out about it. Like, I don't think we'll ever fully, truly understand it. But I think especially it's going to be interesting watching these kids grow up on social media and how their brains are going to develop, you know, learning about all the stuff they learn, especially nowadays. I mean, there's just so much, you know, chaos going on in the world where...
Yeah, that too. Because I didn't know shit about politics when I was younger.
I know. It's like now you kind of really have no choice. I mean, when you get old enough to vote, you should, no matter what, you know, have your opinion in there because your vote matters, your opinion matters on everything. But politics nowadays is pretty crazy, and it'll be interesting to see how the kids take it, you know, growing up in it, you know, as their brain, you know, grows with it.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think about that, Jamie? What do you think about politics? And did you have any political views when you were younger?
It wasn't until like high school, like later, like junior year probably, when I started to actually understand everything behind it.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? Like, did you have? I never really had any political views till like at least college, like early college. I didn't really even know. You know what I mean?
I'm actually, to be honest, still learning a lot about politics. Like, I mean, I think everybody should have, if you're, you know, an American citizen, or I mean, in general, like whatever country you live in, you should have a decent knowledge of the history of it or anything like that, just because it's important. You know, it's super important to have your fair share of your knowledge on that topic. But I mean, I'm still learning a lot about our country and everything like that because, you know, I don't think they go too much in depth on it in school as they should, but it really depends on what classes you take.
Yeah. And definitely there'd be probably some bias there.
Oh yeah, of course. There's definitely a lot of that.
That's the thing. I took like one political science class in high school. I don't know if you guys did, but I didn't learn about much about politics from there. Yeah.
All I remember was them saying like history repeats itself like every year.
Really?
They would always be like, oh yeah, history repeats itself. This war was caused and then this one started like at the same time.
Yeah. But
well, you got to think nowadays, like we have all this access to online content and people can record anything on their phone. So we're now seeing everything for, well, actually, no, we're not seeing things for what it is. We're seeing things for what they're, you know, meant to be seen as, because when you watch a video or you see something online, whatever way that person put that out there is the only way you're going to be able to see it, because you can't look at something with multiple perspectives just by looking at it. You have to actually think about it, you know, because say you see, like, for example, I was watching something and it was going off of like one of the officers who went to that recent school shooting was on his phone.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
While being, you know, the camera caught him on his phone while he was going to be going into the school. But in reality, he was on the phone with his wife, who was actually a teacher in the school. And she was in a tough spot, I guess. And he was distracted talking to her because she was apparently, you know.
I think she died, right?
Yeah, she ended up getting killed. And so who knows what was going through his head in that moment, you know. But everybody was like freaking out about the fact that, like, oh, no, this guy's an asshole. You know, he didn't go in, you know, he's, you know. But at the end of the day, you really don't know all the sides to something. So I think one of the biggest things with social media is you have to take everything with a grain of salt until you really know the hard facts or anything like that, because there's just so much just fugaziness and stuff like that on the internet. Like, you really don't know what's true and what's not and what's real and what's fake. So you have to just, I mean, that kind of goes off of just being smart and not taking everything too personal, too serious, and, you know, investigating a little bit yourself. And because a lot of things sometimes aren't what they perceive, you know, and it causes a lot of issues, especially nowadays, as you see, you know, as the times we're coming in, is perception is really important. And a lot of us are starting to lose that thought or, you know, that way of thinking.
Yeah, but as you get older, you have like a sense of like critical thinking, but younger people don't really have that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's tough for them if they
at that age.
If they catch something that catches their mind at a young age that leans them one way, they'll probably over time develop opinions on false narratives or whatever, which is kind of interesting because we didn't really have that exposure. We were like the last real generation before like social media started to pop off.
Really, yeah, like.
And it's going to be interesting to see. Even kids that are like, I talked to my buddy Mike about this on another podcast. Like, you give a 3-year-old kid or a 4-year-old kid a phone, they're probably going to know how to navigate it better than giving it to like an old person. You know what I mean? Which is nuts to me. But I wanted to ask you this, Nick. When you were talking to me about your new hobby about biking. Yeah, riding motorcycles.
That's another thing.
What got you into that?
So that's another thing I recently got involved with. I guess you can call it the bike life.
Is that the proper term? What is the proper term? Like,
I mean, that's pretty much the term. What would you say? You're involved with this bike life.
Who's more like versed, you or Jamie?
What do you mean?
Like, who's been in the bike life longer?
He has.
Okay.
Yeah, he introduced me to it. Now, there's a lot you can say with the bike life. You know, obviously, for one, the most thing people see in it is it's very dangerous. And 100%, it definitely is very dangerous. But unless you've rode a bike or you understand the kind of feeling you get when riding a bike, I mean, it's really like no other. Like, motorcycles are such beautiful machines, and depending on which bike it is, I mean, everyone is so different. It's like cars, you know, like if you have a passion for cars, you can kind of relate to the passion for bikes too, because I mean, there's just no other feeling, you know, you and the machine and the kind of stress-free, you know, no anxiety, like just free, you know, you feel like you're alive, you know, and it just goes off with that adrenaline thing.
I've always wanted to I was really close to buying a motorcycle 3 years ago when I was in college. I might still get one day. I think they're really cool. You
know, I'm always going to be an advocate for motorcycles. I think they are amazing machines, beautiful machines. They are super fun, super dangerous, but there's just so much beauty in them that people put off because all they can see is the death aspect of them. And, you know, because I get it, you know, I've lost people on motorcycles. I think everybody's lost someone at least due to motorcycle accidents.
You remember Philip Frosser?
Of course.
Yeah.
He
was a good friend of mine.
He was a very
rest
good
in
kid.
Peace.
Rest in peace.
Do you know who Philip Frosser is?
No.
He got me into working out. A good guy.
He did?
Yep. But, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. But, you know, I mean, like I was saying, you know, there's going to be things in our lives that we may enjoy doing, and they may not be the safest, you know, but at the end of the day, you only live once. You know, if something makes you happy and you enjoy doing it and it is a little risky, I mean, that's what life's all about, you know, like there's no risk if there's no risk, there's no reward. You know what I mean? So that can be applied to anything in life. You know, sometimes you got to take the risk, you know? I mean, obviously this is an example that's a little bit weird. Like, you don't have to take the risk on a motorcycle. Why? You know, you don't need to. But if you do have the feeling like you think it would be something therapeutic for you, or you know you will have a passion for it, I think it's totally worth it. You know, you got to just be safe, be smart about it. It's so fun, man. Like, it's just, you feel so free. You know, it's like, it's hard to describe. I mean, there's a lot of things that can compare it to it. Like, he's been skydiving before.
Have you never been skydiving?
Never been
I went
skydiving.
recently, bro.
I
It's
want
fun.
to.
So if you skydived, it's kind of the same feeling as on a bike.
When you're going super fast?
Yeah, if you go like 150 in skydiving, it's the same feeling, like the same adrenaline you get,
Shit.
same amount of like air coming out.
But less barrier to entry because you're just jumping on a bike instead of having to be up in a
So
plane.
here's the thing. I mean, I went skydiving last time and the parachute barely opened. It opened at like the last minute.
Are you serious?
I could literally feel it. I was at 18,000 feet. And we jumped out. The guy opened the chute, and we just went like that the whole time. And I was like,
Yes,
"Oh
yes,
shit! Like
wow.
I didn't die on my bike, but I'm about to die over here in a parachute."
Was it? Did he tell you that it was a close call? That's fucking
He
nuts.
told me after the fact, and I knew it. Like I could feel it. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Was that your first time doing it?
No, that was my third.
Fuck. That's scary.
So I did 11,000. I did 15,000. That was 18,000.
And was he an instructor?
Yeah, he was an instructor. 11 years.
Damn.
So I didn't want to be the first one. I've been the first one before, and my
To
friend
jump?
was like, "Oh yeah, to jump." It's
Okay.
not the worst. I mean, in the end of the day, like if you're the first one, you're just like, "Hey, I'll get it over."
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the other person like flying out and just watching them fly out.
Okay.
So I'm there. I'm holding the door, which is basically just like a fiberglass. So I'm holding it. My hand's freezing as we're going up, and the guy sees it. He's like, "Oh, like your hand, it's like basically."
But you
frostbite."
weren't scared because you've done it before, right?
Yeah, I wasn't scared because I've done it before. So we go to jump out. I'm usually expecting like a flip. Nothing. I was like, all right, cool. Like this was different. We go. We're still hanging for like about a minute, and then he opens the chute. As soon as he opens the chute, I feel like something weird. Like it tugged me, but we were just going like this, literally just
Like fast?
yeah, fast and just like 360 the whole way.
Like
And then-
how fast? Like super.
Yeah,
Like,
like you kind of lose consciousness real quick.
really?
Yeah.
The entire way
The
down?
entire way. And then the guy's like, so you can see like he's just going like this the whole time, and he's
Yeah.
trying to get a hold of it and trying to like control it so that it stays still.
Fuck, bro. That's like giving me anxiety because I did it like maybe 2 months ago and it was fine. We had a good time.
Yeah.
But we did like small spins. So what did you just land in some random like area?
No, he got it back under control, and then
Okay.
after that he landed right where we were supposed to land.
So how long were you in the constant?
Just spinning, probably like, well, it felt like forever, probably like a minute.
Wow.
But in reality, it was probably like what 30 seconds, 15 seconds. But it felt like
I mean,
forever.
but still, damn.
It's still a lot,
so he
though.
told you after he tried to play it off.
Yeah, he tried to play it off at
Okay.
first. He was like, "Oh no, Biggie." He's like, "You having a good time?" I was like, "Yeah." Knowing damn well I was like,
Yeah.
shit. And then the guy's like, "Oh, we had a little trouble on the opening, like little small minor
damn.
difficulties."
Don't
Yeah.
do it.
That's tough. That's a tough sell. It's just a little minor difficulties when you're about to die.
And I went to go look at the video because I had the video,
Uh-huh.
and they like literally cut that part out,
Really?
and then just kept it going after that.
Wow.
I was like, "Damn."
You have any purpose or any desire to do that, Nick?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely want to skydive. Comparing it to riding a motorcycle, it's definitely, I mean, I haven't skydived yet, so I can't really give you my perspective through experience, but I think if you can compare it, like say doing skydiving with someone else, like you're with an instructor, okay, that's similar to riding a motorcycle, but once you do it by yourself, I think that might be like even crazier, because the thing that makes riding a motorcycle so special is you're literally in control of that machine. So it's just you and the machine, and whatever you want to do, you can do. Like, so having that machine under your control is what makes it so thrilling, So I think it kind of can go the same way with skydiving. Like maybe, being with someone is still thrilling, but you don't really have the control like you would want to. So then doing a skydiving by yourself, obviously you have to really get experience to be able to do that. But I can't imagine skydiving by yourself, because now it's literally just you and the world. You are in control of your life, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes things so, crazy sometimes, is the fact that knowing one wrong move and that's pretty much it, so sometimes being in those situations, it makes you feel the most alive, you know?
But I feel
Definitely.
like you gotta respect your bike, because like,
Oh yeah.
if
Well,
you don't respect it, and you do. If you get overly confident,
What's it?
then
Have you had any close calls yet, Nick?
oh yeah, yeah.
That's scary, bro.
That's another thing too. You have to respect the machine. So that's a good point he brought up, because you're still playing with your life. So you have to be careful. I mean, treat the machine with respect. I mean, you can have fun with it, but there's going to be some times where you're going to get some close calls or scares. Like, and that's when it really comes down to your gear, you know, having the proper gear and, you know, doing the right thing on a bike. Because I don't care who you are. You can be the most experienced rider. Something can still happen no matter what. Like, that's just what it is. It's like anything else. You know, you can only control so much of situations. So I've had some pretty scary situations where fortunately I was able to handle them okay. But it's really, it's part of it. You know, you got to understand the fact that, yes, you know, these machines are super fun, but there's still that aspect of, you know, death involved with it. And you still have to respect it. As much as, you know, I do look at the beautiful side of it, he's right. You know, you have to really still respect the fact that you can lose your life doing this. And
What about you, Jamie? You have any close calls?
not really, thank God. I mean, most of the time I group ride, so I don't ride alone for the most part. I usually ride with my friends, but I've been the first one to actually like introduce them for the most part.
Okay.
So everyone's gotten a bike after me, and we just ride it all together, and it protects us more because you're more known, you're more visible to the people.
Okay.
So it's
Is
not
the
that
biggest threat to motorcycles other cars?
bad. For the most part, yeah.
Oh, okay. So not yourself, it's the other cars.
No. Yeah, for the most part, it's like people texting or like the car's not paying attention at all.
just drivers in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time in motorcycle accidents, it involves collision with vehicles.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, unfortunately. I mean, makes sense because anybody, you know, can ride a bike normally, but
Like,
in
don't get me
traffic is when it really comes down to being responsible. Because, yeah, you can have fun, but if you're in traffic and you're not being smart, and you see it all the time, and it goes back to the social media thing, like, you'll go on the internet, you'll see these people doing this crazy, awesome, driving 120 miles an hour through traffic, doing, you know, swerving and looping. It's like, wow, that's sick. But bro, like, yeah, that's sick, but you can die. Like, people die from that every day. And like, you watching that can influence you in a bad way. And that goes back to the social media and being a good and bad thing. Like, you know, because some kids, I bet, you know, they look at that and they're like, wow, that's sick. And they go and do these things, and they don't have that experience of getting that scare and realizing that, bro, you can really lose your life. And that's what happens. You know, they don't take it seriously enough. And then when something does happen, it's too late, you know, and that's the unfortunate reality of it. So you really still have to be super careful, because there's a lot of fun shit you can do with bikes. I mean, wheelies.
You guys do
stunts.
wheelies and shit like that?
No.
Do you do wheelies?
No, not yet.
Good.
That's
Not
why I
yet.
have the
You're going to try?
I have the stunt bike for that.
Okay.
Wheelies, they're actually not that good for the bike. Not saying it's going to destroy the bike, but doing wheelies all the time they're not meant to do that. You know what I mean? Like, especially certain bikes, they're just not designed for that. So it can mess them up a little bit. But if you want to do wheelies, that's a whole nother adrenaline rush too, because now you're putting an adrenaline rush on top of an adrenaline rush, because you're already going on a bike. But then
Have you tried
that
before, Jamie?
I've done it on accident. Like, I was racing my buddy, and then I popped a wheelie, and I was like, holy shit.
Was it like you?
No, so at that point, I didn't know that I popped a wheelie until I was already like up, and I was like, oh snap, like we're actually facing up.
What about you, Nick?
Oh yeah, I've done them by accident. I've done a couple purposely, but I've never walked a wheelie out. Like, it's just
What does that mean?
like held it.
Out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I've had my tire off the ground for a couple like maybe a second or two, but to be able to walk those wheelies out and really
Is that
control
the term,
them,
walk it out?
yeah, I mean, it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Ride it up, no.
Ride it out.
Because you're basically just chasing it. So when you're doing a wheelie, all you're really doing is keeping the bike balanced enough to where you can keep that wheel in the air, but giving it just enough throttle to where you're not, you know, rolling the bike or flipping
How
the bike.
dangerous is doing a wheelie?
Oh, super dangerous.
Super dangerous.
Of course.
I've seen videos where they look nuts.
It depends on the bike. Like, some are more easier to wheelie than others.
Okay.
And depending on the setup you have, if you have more torque, then you can wheelie the bike quicker.
My
So
style
there's
bike is more of like a cruiser if I were to
Yeah.
get a bike.
Well, that's another thing too. You got to pick your poison because crotch rockets, sport bikes, super bikes, whatever you want to call them, they're super fun, but they're not that comfortable. Depending on which one you get, some are more comfortable than others. But if you're looking for just that cruising freedom feeling, cruisers are the best way to go.
There's a couple bikes that I don't know the names of them, but I like more of like the
Harley style.
883 probably.
The more of like, you know, like when in the American Army where they had motorcycles,
Like the Captain America type bike.
that type of shit. Yeah,
It's like
Probably like the Indian bikes.
is that what they're
I
called?
like those.
I think it's like the old school bikes.
Yeah,
it's
I fuck
probably
with those.
Indian.
Those are
Indian.
cool as fuck. I'll probably get one day, but
The Harley 83s are also nice.
They're almost like
really
naked
customizable.
bikes, but they still got a little bit of heaviness to them.
You ride it every day?
No, hell no.
Do you ride it
Excuse
every day?
me.
No, I barely ride it on the weekends.
Gotcha. Just for fun, whenever you have a chance.
Just whenever, like, let's say Nick hits me up, like, hey, let's go for a ride. All right.
Yeah, like for example, we were gonna ride earlier just to take a little quick ride, but the weather was not permitting. So like, I mean, even after this podcast, like if it's dry out there, maybe we'll go for a ride, but chances are it might not be dry out there, depending on how the weather is. But yeah, I mean, at least for my personal preference, I only like riding with people. Sometimes I'll go for a little ride by myself. If like in the beginning, I would do a lot of like therapy riding by myself. But honestly, bro, like I've came to the conclusion that like you can really, you can lose your life riding a motorcycle. So I still love motorcycles. I love riding them. It's such a thrill. But I'm not going to go and ride them every day because I love to ride them, because I know that you can lose your life. So why would I increase my chances of dying just to ride that bike every day when I know I really don't have to ride that bike every day? You know what I mean? So I only ride it when I feel like it's necessary. Like, we have a group that's going out or we're going somewhere. Because I've had buddies that have been riding for a long ass time. Like
Levi rode.
Yeah. And they still crash out or, something happens. And gosh, I know for a fact that like, if I would get into an accident, it probably wouldn't be good. So I really got to keep my, time on a bike to a minimal and just be responsible, because
Like Levi almost died, I believe. I don't know if you remember him telling us that story.
I don't think he told me that.
Yeah, he almost died.
We'll have to make a podcast.
I haven't seen him in longer,
I saw him
bro.
at the gym a little bit.
How's he been?
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. But
Working a lot.
Yeah, firefighter life.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting, bro. I would like to even see your bike, even if I don't. I even take him for a little spin, but I don't know if I'm gonna go super
You can
fast.
sit on the handlebars and look, But
Gear is like the main thing, dude.
yeah,
What is gear?
Like just wearing gear,
Gear,
buying
yeah.
the helmet. Like people think, all right, the bike, it's probably the cheapest thing.
Yeah, bike's not that
Buying
expensive,
the
right?
bike is the cheapest
So
thing.
like 5,000-6,000 if you want like a decent bike.
Give or take. Yeah.
Bike,
You
yeah.
can find them.
no,
But it's like the helmet.
double that for the
You
gear.
can
No,
find.
Are you
yeah.
serious?
essentially. Well, almost.
I mean, put it this way: for a good helmet, you're looking at like $800, $500 cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You're
and
looking-
obviously you don't want to cheap out on your gear.
No.
Yeah, because the way that I see
Well,
it
you
is like
could, but-
you gotta ride for the slide or the fall. So you gotta basically just
Yeah.
wear everything that
For sure.
for a fall. So you're not gonna be wearing shorts.
Have
and
you
shit.
you haven't fallen before?
My buddy fell.
Oh, yeah.
So
Have you fell?
no, you haven't fell.
No.
That's good.
But
Keep it
listen,
that way.
the reason why I try to limit myself personally so much on a bike is because of what he just said, and that's the gear. Like, I know me personally, I hate wearing so much shit on a bike, and I know that I'm not gonna have all the gear on all the time, and that's a problem because now you're playing with your life, and my stubbornness will still do that sometimes just because I don't like the feeling of having too much on while riding a bike.
So that's a thing. Like that's a struggle people have is that they
It
don't want to
is.
wear enough gear.
It's
Like a helmet
it's
is not going to
hard.
cut it. If you're riding a motorcycle with just a helmet and you crash, it's definitely going to be a lot worse than what it could be.
What do you wear, like a full suit or something?
So I have a Kevlar sweater, and then under that I have a airbag vest.
Okay.
So the airbag vest is a little heavy. It has a back plate and everything to it. But then on top of that, the Kevlar, it's just when the sun's beaming at you on a light, you're just like sweating. your ass off.
Gotcha.
And I can't wrap my head around the airbag thing. I still just don't get it. Did Laz's airbag
it
deploy when he
deployed.
crashed?
And he was fine?
Yeah, he was good.
Well, I just
So
don't
he
understand.
was going probably like 90 miles an hour on Turnpike.
Damn.
He thought a state trooper was coming for him, and there was a car that was in front of him. He braked too hard, bike just slid. So he went this way, and the bike went that way. And then he doesn't know how he got up, picked up the bike, went all the way to the shoulder lane, all on Turnpike, and no one hit him. No one ran over him.
He doesn't know how he did
He
it.
doesn't know
close
how.
call.
Like he knows that he got up, adrenaline rush really quick, and then just fell down over there in the shoulder lane.
He fell?
Like he just knocked out after that. And then he
And-
texted us, and he's like, "Dude, I fell." And we're like, "What do you mean? Like
Someone saved him?
Huh?
Someone save him? Someone like rescue him?
There was some
Someone,
people-
yeah. So I guess a lady came and like stopped right there and like started praying on top of him.
Holy
And
fuck.
then another
Someone's
dude,
grandma was praying on him.
So it was
Yeah.
like serious shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
bro,
another
he-
dude picked up
he
his
got
gun
lucky.
and like gave it to him. He's like, "Here, like here's your gun back."
Oh,
And
he had
he-
his gun on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
had
has
his
gun on.
concealed on
Yeah.
him. And it, I guess, rolled all over the street, and some guy gave it back to him. But
Did he go to the hospital?
yeah.
He didn't want to.
Oh,
But
he
yeah,
didn't end up going?
he didn't want to. So the ambulance came and they're like, "Oh, you're pretty good, like for the fall at 90 miles an hour."
Wow.
He had some.
He had road rash for the
some
most part.
pretty decent road rash.
But he was the one that was questioning. He's like, "Oh, like, will this airbag really work? Will it really work? Like, I throw it here, nothing happens. Like, nothing deploys. Like, will it really
It
work?"
saved his life.
And then all of a sudden, he tested it out. He was the test dummy.
And you know,
Is he like a rider shy now? Does he not do it anymore?
Oh no, he got an airbag again. He got the
Wow.
bike back up and running. He's back to go.
he fixed up that bike, made it brand new, and got right back on it. But the craziest thing though is Laz is probably one of the most responsible, chill riders out of the group. Like Laz really never does anything crazy. You know, he's always aware. He just kind of chills. Like he's always there, just doing his thing. So for that to happen to him, just goes to show you that like it doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been riding, what kind of style you ride. Bro, shit's gonna happen. And like it comes down to what you're wearing. You know, at the end of the day, it just comes down to what you're wearing. And, you know, it can literally increase your, you know, life expectancy of living 50% easily.
So most of his road rash was like from here down, like everywhere that the vest didn't cover.
Okay.
So his whole spine and chest was all fine. No road rash, nothing. No
Damn.
scratches, nothing. His arms here, a couple scratches. Nothing deep though.
That's some crazy shit, bro. We got to do a bit. I got to take some videos of you on the bike. Some
Yeah.
cool shit.
We'll get some content.
But let's change the topic real quick. Unless you want something you want to talk about?
I mean, honestly,
Because you were going to talk about something before, but then we kind of lost our way talking about bikes.
this podcast is going to be all over the place, but it's starting to, you know, kind of get on track. You know, we just had a really good conversation about bikes. You know, I don't know. You never know. There may be some viewers that are looking to get a bike, and, you know, all those things we just talked about could help them in making that decision in some way. So,
I'll probably get a bike one day. I don't
oh,
know
geez.
I don't know if I'm gonna be
No.
like that though, bro. I'm a bitch when it comes to that type of stuff.
No,
get
it's
gear,
not
dude.
even about
What?
that.
As long as you get gear first,
Yeah.
like the bike is whatever. The bike,
'Cause
just
look,
get
like,
something that you know.
I'm not like an adrenaline. Like I don't like going fast in the cars and stuff like that.
but it's not even that. It's just like you never know. Like,
Oh, of course. No, but I'm saying like like you said, Nick, you like the bike because you get that adrenaline rush. I would literally drive like a
You just
little
wanna
pussy.
cruise.
I would just drive.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I just, for some reason, I love, you know,
wait, sorry.
it's so hard to even put into words, but I'm just I guess you can call it an
junkie.
adrenaline junkie, but
Some
it's
people
just
like that
more
stuff.
than just the whole adrenaline side of it, like when it comes to cars and bikes, but I just love those machines, man. Like there's just something beautiful about each and every different car or motorcycle, and it's just so intriguing because, bro, we've just came such a long way when it comes to
For sure.
what we can, you know. I mean, we used to ride on horses, ride on donkeys.
You ever
and,
watch
like,
that movie Ford vs Ferrari?
Yeah,
It's a fucking good movie,
That's a
bro.
good movie.
you know,
Yeah. That made me
now-
want to drive my car fast.
I mean, we almost have cars that can break the freaking sound barrier almost. You know, it's and they're not even powered by gas; they're electric. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
it's like
Those are cool.
you have cars that are being created now that are say worth $100,000, $200,000, but they're exceeding, cars that are worth millions of dollars numbers, and it's like, gosh, you have a battery that it's just a battery, but it's smoking this $1 million car. And
You're talking about Tesla versus like,
yeah, say Tesla. I mean, obviously that's probably the number one electric vehicle right now, the Roadster they've been working on, but that car is insane. I mean, yeah, it's not an engine, it's not a real gas powered vehicle, but that's pretty cool. To have something.
Are you a car guy too, Jamie?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but I've kind of like steered away from that. I mean, it's just too expensive, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
All
if you're a
the
car
mods
guy,
and
you're
everything.
definitely a broke guy. Any kind of car, motorcycle, you're gonna spend so much money in it. It just is what it is. It's not a cheap hobby. I mean, no hobbies are really
Not with
cheap
gas at this
nowadays.
price.
There's
No.
nothing
What'd
you
you
can
say?
do.
Gas at this price, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, no hobbies. Well, motorcycles have good gas mileage, right?
I
No,
mean,
they don't.
they're better than cars.
I used to ride a moped in college. I used to put like $3 or $4.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean-
nowadays it's not that like
Yeah,
that
that's the
anymore.
thing.
Yeah,
But
it
at
went
the
from
same time,
$10
like,
to
if you're
$20.
going 120 the whole way down, like from here to Miami,
Okay, so you burn.
yeah, you're burning a lot of gas.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's not that bad as a car. Like if you look at regular cars right now, yeah, bikes still get better miles.
Yeah, definitely.
But you got to do more maintenance, more consecutive. Like oil
Really?
change has to come more sooner. Wheels.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's super fun to work on the machines yourself. Learning about them.
Every hobby's expensive, bro.
There
Like,
you go. You just gotta
I don't know if you knew that I did a triathlon like a couple months ago, Nick. So I had a
I don't think you told me, but I think I did see something about that. How
so
was
like
that?
it was fun. It was good. I'm doing a marathon later this year.
That's good that you like to do. Like that goes back to kind of what I was saying about just experiencing things in life.
Yeah,
Like
different shit.
I think in life, experience everything at least once. You only live once, so why not just do it? I mean,
For sure. But I was gonna say like
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
and then you're good. The expensive part of that is like the actual bicycles. I had to borrow one from my friend, but my buddy Mike, who's doing it with me, I mean, he spent like $3,000 on a bike, and that was like a cheap bike. Like his dad spent
I
like
can
$10,000 on like, and his dad's bike is nice, but it's not like top of the line either. Like $10,000 for a fucking bicycle, that blows my mind. And the same shit, they have to redo the tires every now and then.
and I
Tires-
can't imagine the gear for that too. Probably
Yeah, I
expensive.
delivered
as
to
well.
a bike shop. That's funny. And I think their cheapest bike is like $5,000.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I walk in there, I'm like, damn, this is a car payment right
yeah,
here.
any like any triathlon bike, just because biking has gotten so popular that they've just taken advantage of the market so much, dude. There's one across the street, and their cheapest bike is like $1,000, but it's like that's like a shitty bike for like that type of stuff. I guess the helmets are like $250. It's like what the fuck,
The
To
wheels
me,
are
that
like carbon fiber.
but like you see these guys. So when we did, it makes a big difference though.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did it with my buddy's like bullshit triathlon bike that he let me borrow. And I was
You
like,
get dusted.
dude, they're old dudes with like these. Literally, they look like motorcycles,
so
bro.
funny.
Like the wheels are like so nice. They're like chrome
They're
plated,
going like 50 miles an hour.
bro. Literally, they're like bent over and they're fucking zooming. That's nuts. But you're right. You have a good point. Hobbies are expensive, bro. Even for me, the gym hobby is fucking expensive. I have a lot of equipment that costs a lot of money, and guns are expensive. Cars are
Everything
expensive.
is expensive. man.
Anything fun is expensive.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know what?
It's worth it.
Good.
I mean, yeah, it's worth it.
Because at the end of the day, like,
As long as you're not letting it consume you.
yeah, as long as you're not selling your kids and
Yeah.
your house over your hobbies, then that's when it gets bad. But if it makes you happy, just do it. Be smart about it. Be responsible. I mean, I think it all comes down to that balance. Just having that balance in life. And that can go back to the whole discussion of what I've been learning the last couple of years. Like, just balance. Mentally. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of that shit to figure all your shit out. Sometimes you just got to go through the fire, through the darkness to figure yourself out. And that's kind of what I've been doing the last couple of years, just figuring it all out with myself and trying to put it all together. And because that's life, bro. Like, everybody's different, everybody's mentality is different, everybody handles things differently. And as long as you're just trying to continue to strengthen your mentality and follow what your heart's telling you and do what you want to do with your life, then that's all that really matters. We're just constantly growing. We will always continue to learn and grow, and I think that's what makes it so beautiful. And that kind of opened me up to the fact that, like, thinking, well, all the anxiety, all the depression we put ourselves through, because some people don't go through those kind of things much at all. Like some people, they can live their entire life and say, you know, well, I've never really been down any kind of terribly dark road before. And that's great. If you can do that, God bless you, you know, because the mind is very sensitive. And like, there's some people, bro, that suffer. And, you know, I definitely, for one of those people that, you know, cause their own suffering sometimes. And I feel them, you know, like I can understand that, man. Like, you're your own worst enemy at the end of the day. And it's really true. Like, we end up hurting ourselves in life more than anybody, you know. It's like we do the most damage to ourselves, and that's just what it is. And if once you realize that and you just learn from it, like now it's like, I don't care what I go through in life. I can go through 10 more depressive episodes. I know it's going to make me a stronger person. At the end of the day, you're going to come out a stronger person. And that's what the darkness is for. You know, it's supposed to strengthen you. It's supposed to give you power. You have to go through that in life. You know, it's like we try to, you know, desensitize so much shit, but like sometimes you have to go through that bullshit. You know, sometimes you have to feel the pain. You have to, you know, go through those problems or, you know, feel that hurt. And because it's just going to make you a stronger person. I mean, back to what he was saying, you know, with the whole endless cycle of life, that kind of goes off that, like, you know, that whole saying where they say, you know, strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. It really is a thing. Like, you know, we're at a point right now where as our generation, we just have to keep strengthening ourselves and, you know, keeping our heads on right and, you know, continuing to grow. Cause bro, I mean, shit, I'm connecting things left and right. That goes off of what we were talking about with the social media as a growing up. Like, gosh, you can develop in a bad way by growing up on social media if you let it. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, that's the thing. It's hard for kids to determine what's good and bad. Mm-hmm. So that's the only bad thing about that for children is like they don't have judgment like we do as adults. That's the only negative thing. But then again, they have all the positives because they're able to have exposure to unlimited amount of information. And
you're not only now domesticated by your parents, but by the content that you allow to, you know, enter your brain.
100%. And that's another thing.
Which is good, I think.
I was going to say, like, kids that grew up without fathers or mothers might find somebody online that they can make a father. Yeah. That could be a really good thing. It also could be a really bad thing because kids can get addicted and fucking watching shit that can fuck them up even worse. But that's a good thing about it. What do you think about what Nick just said, Jamie?
No, I think, like, you can have a father figure. You can find just about anything. I mean, you could go YouTube, how to wash your clothes, how to do this, how to do that. You'll find something. Someone will have a video. Someone will have something for you.
You know,
no lie though. Like Rich Piana was that dude for me growing up. Like, dude. Like, I don't know. You watched him like that too, right? Or not really?
Yeah, he's definitely a legend in my book.
You ever watch Rich Piana?
No. You know, his whole legacy. Yeah, it may not be the most appropriate for some people, and I get it. You know, his legacy had a lot of good, you know, positives and negatives, but bro, he's literally like the definition of never giving up. Like, I mean, that guy went through so much. I mean, he literally did whatever it took to do what he wanted to do, and he did not stop. He literally took it to death. You know, he basically did, you know, and I'm sure he doesn't regret one piece of it because that's what he wanted. You know, he was just trying to be the best version of himself. And unfortunately, he took it to an extent to where it may not have been so good for his health. It started becoming negative, but that's what he wanted. And, you know, it is what it is. You can take what you want from it, but it was his life. You know, it's just what he wanted. And yeah, of course it can influence some people in negative ways, but that goes back to, you know, just your own responsibility and, you know, taking what you want and using it and applying it how you want, because that's the thing nowadays, social media and all this stuff, we can literally turn ourselves into whatever we want just by what we put in our heads because we have so much access to it. So, I mean, you can literally do whatever you want yourself nowadays. And that goes off of to even just with our economy now, it's like nobody wants to work anymore because everyone wants to be a superstar or something, you know. And I don't blame people.
You could do both.
You could do both, you know, and that's the thing though. Like
Everybody can.
I think everybody should contribute to society in some way, shape, or form, no matter what they're doing, because at the end of the day, not only does it make you feel good, but it's the right thing to do. You know, we take so much from this beautiful earth as it is. You might as well at least attempt to give back to it in some way, shape, or form, you know, whether it's just leaving a positive impact on people or, you know, having something that contributes to it. I mean, even if it's just a business or a charity or something like that, it really doesn't matter, just as long as you're trying your best to be the best you can be and make the difference, you know, because nowadays I just feel like there's not enough people trying to make the difference. You know, it's milligrams, it's not the worst. But right now, on an average day, I'm probably getting like 300
milligrams.
Yeah, which isn't bad.
That's not bad. The FDA says under 400. I try to stay under 400. I do like a pre-workout, the Buff Sauce 250, and then I'll do like maybe coffee in the morning or something.
Yeah,
it just depends. But that's good, bro. Don't get to take the caffeine.
Yeah, I just can't.
Well, yeah, that goes for anything.
I get
in
like
life.
the jitters half the time.
Really?
Yeah, especially with C4. Like my whole neck just starts scratching, and I just feel like itchy.
Yeah, it's the
beta-alanine.
Beta-alanine.
Yeah, maybe it was Levi that was like caffeine addicted. One of
I think he was. Yeah, he was having
like,
a lot of late nights.
Yeah.
No, because some days you can tell it was hilarious.
I know. You remember we used to do? We did a couple podcasts with him.
And when he was like off sleep, no sleep. Man.
Yeah, fucking nuts.
Speaking of which, this podcast is brought to you by
Time
CBD.
I'll tell
Delta
you
8 gummies.
I'll tell you a funny story about that.
No. Seriously, that's a good product though.
So I had a guy. No, I didn't take that. I had a guy at work tell me about Delta 8, and he told me, he's like, hey bro, you should try these. He told me like every day, you should try these gummies. They're amazing. Before I go to bed, they're great. And he just wouldn't stop bothering me about it. So I'm like, all right, I'll try your fucking gummies. So I went with him to go try these, what I thought was CBD. I've had CBD before, and I don't really feel shit off of them.
Delta 8 is not CBD.
I know. So I he takes me and he gives me these Delta 8 gummies, and I had no idea that I was gonna. It's like real weed.
I got a story after.
So I take them, and the lady's like, take half, but she gave me a whole pack. Like, I bought a whole pack or whatever. So I took half the pack instead of half of a gummy. I was supposed to take half of a gummy. I took half of the pack. I took it like right before bed. I was hanging out, and then I get into bed and I was like, I don't feel shit. I was like, wow, this. I was like, this. But you know how the edible is, like we were talking before.
You were so high, you didn't feel anything.
No, but like it hits you. For me, it hits me like 2 hours after, and I hadn't done edibles in years.
Yeah.
So like I was, right when I closed my eyes, I started to panic, bro. They started hitting me.
Shit, you were spinning?
Bro, no, not spinning. I was like hallucinating. I had to call my girlfriend, bro. I told my sister I was gonna die. I was literally like, call the police. Like I was fine, obviously.
Well, yeah, but you were,
dude. I was so high, bro. I was so high. They were like, because my sister doesn't do weed. My girlfriend doesn't like smoke or anything like that either. So they had no idea, and they were looking up shit online. And when you look up stuff online, like they're
gonna
like,
say you have cancer, or you're dying.
The worst, like you're going through psychosis and stuff, bro. I was literally freaking.
You're never coming back.
I remember I had to leave my house. I thought the house was burning down. I went to my girlfriend's house, and I was sitting in her bed for like 2 hours thinking I was having seizures. My legs felt like they were shaking. I was fine after, but it was crazy, bro.
I wish you called me.
I called my friend. You know, remember Ben Lamb?
Yeah.
And he was the first person I ever smoked with. So I was
stories with him.
My head was thinking, call him, because I was high as fuck.
Yeah.
So I called him, and he loves to fuck with me. And he was sending me like a bunch of scary YouTube videos, and he was fucking with me because he knew I was fine, bro. He made it so bad.
But sometimes, bro, like
it was
in those situations, you need someone that's gonna calm you down, because like that shit can be scary, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, like
it fucking me up, bro.
Having someone there that can talk you out of it and just make you realize, like, relax, like you're gonna be fine, like can really help, because people really can freak out when that happens.
Yeah. Tell me your funny story.
So I'm in Miami, right? And just having a little weekend in Miami. And I think I've tried Delta 8 before once, but I wasn't too familiar with it. I thought it was like, just not that strong, which the Delta 8 is literally a chemical compound off of, I think, the Delta 7, I believe, or I forget which, THC molecule is the actual thing, but besides all the sciencey bullshit behind it, it's basically weed.
It's weed, yeah.
It's THC.
It's not.
It's just
CBD.
not as strong.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about that. So there was this, I bought some gummies and there was 6 gummies in the jar. And I'm like, what are these little gummies, dude? This is not going to be anything. I ate all the gummies, dude. And let me tell you, I was high for the rest of the day and the day after.
Holy fuck. I was high the next day too.
Like,
it was bad.
I was like, oh my gosh, why
took
did I
like
do this
200
to myself?
milligrams.
Like, I was, bro, I mean, it's real. Like, you got to do your research because it's strong, even though it's not as strong as the other stuff, it's still strong. Like, and I think it has its benefits, you know, like say medically you need it to either, you know, relax you a little bit or, you know, do whatever you have to do. It works. Like, I think it's the benefit of it is it's weaker than, you know, some of the stronger stuff. So you can dose it properly and use it to your benefit without getting too stoned. Cause like, obviously if you have, you know, THC itself, just the original, you know, Delta 9 or Delta 7, I forget which one it is. Dude, you can eat some or you smoke some and you're like, damn it, I did it again. Like I did too much, or it's too hard to dose. So sometimes doing that is a little bit easier than trying to dose, you know, some stronger stuff.
I was in the same boat as you, bro. I took it thinking it was like CBD, like, oh, I feel a little relaxed. I was in for a fucking show. That was horrible.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you said you never tried Delta 8, right?
No, Delta 8, no, just edibles.
Yeah, I've always had bad experience with edibles. I've always overdone edibles. Every time I've done edibles, maybe I've done 5 times in my life. Every time I've gotten way too high.
Yeah. Well, edibles are super strong, and it's hard to tell when they're going to hit you. So
they just hit you at the worst point.
You have to be careful.
And then so like I've had stories where I've taken edibles and I was like, I don't feel shit. I take more. I still don't feel shit. Take more, and then fucking dude.
I get that. I even had that with this.
Yeah, nuts, bro. But anyways, anything else you want to talk about before we close out the podcast, Nick? It's been fun, bro. We gotta get together.
I think this was a good podcast just to kind of have a little reunion because we haven't really done any content in a while. We had some good topics about the motorcycles in there. We had some good topics about the CBD, social media, and the effect on it on our generations. So I think we had a decent podcast. I don't think there was anything in specific. I mean, obviously, you know, we don't want to sit here for too long, you know, podcast. We want it to be around an hour. So I figure, you know, there's not really too much more we can talk about. But I think we definitely, you know, it was a good podcast.
Is this your first time doing a podcast before, Jamie?
Yeah.
Cool.
First time.
You should come by more often, bro.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely do more. I mean,
do you guys work out together too or no?
Sometimes, yeah.
There,
Yeah.
He works out. He's part of the 5 a.m. crew.
Yeah.
Oh, you go early?
I go in the early.
Nice.
I used to do that, but
especially Crunch. I mean, Crunch
I don't
gets
need
packed.
to right now.
I was on a good wave for a while, but I fell off. How do you get up early? How do you do it?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
Faith.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
I just set up like 2
determination.
alarms, and then my buddy that's been going for a year, he'll text me. He'll be like, "Hey, bro, wake up." And then I'm like, "Fuck!" Like he's going. So now
The
I have
accountability
to go.
helps a lot. I don't have a training partner right now. I don't really train with anybody else.
So I think that's what helps me is the fact that like I see him up, and I'm like, "Damn, now I have to go."
Do you do it before work?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it gives me like, because I don't have to worry about that after. That's the other thing. Like before, I used to do it after work, and I'll just be like, "Oh no, I'll just go tomorrow." You know, I'm a little tired today. If I do it before work, it's like you got no option. You're not gonna skip work.
Yeah. That's
makes sense. You know, especially with with what you do, going to the gym after work is sometimes going to be exhausting.
hard.
And then if you try to take pre-workout, you might not be able to get to sleep on time, and it turns into be a mess. So
are you doing late nights, Nick, or like afternoon late?
I do morning workouts.
Okay.
But
because you're doing overnight. So.
Yeah, so it just works for me right now with my situation.
You do it after your shift?
No, in the morning.
So you work overnight and then you wake up and then you go to the gym?
Yeah, I mean, I don't work too late into the night. I probably get out like 12 p.m.
Okay, 12 a.m.
No, 12. Yeah, 12 a.m. Yeah. And then get some sleep, and then I'll wake up around 8, 9, do my workout, and get ready for the day, do whatever I got to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't work. I work from home pretty much every day. I go to an office once in a while for work, but
gotcha.
Yeah, it's like I miss those morning grinds. Like, but it helps when you have somebody that's waiting on you. I always try to get someone to do it early with me in the morning, because as lazy that this sounds for myself, like sometimes I just don't fucking get up if it's that time. And I know I have the home gym at the house, so I can just say, I'll fucking do it after work. And I don't work like manually, so I'm not really that tired after work. But I do like morning workouts.
And the thing is, like, he pushes me and I'll push him. Like, he'll push me on like chest and I'll push him on like legs. So it's like we kind of balance each other. So like on leg day, I don't miss that. Like
Yeah.
I'm waking up no matter what on that day. And he's just like, oh, I don't feel like going today. I'm like, what do you mean you don't feel like going? Like, you got to go.
Yeah, I got to get a training partner again. But anyways, yeah, it's been good, Nick.
We got some things in the works.
I'll cut it out.
No, it's all right.
But
yeah, man, I appreciate you having me like always. You know, it's always a good time.
we got to get a workout in together.
We'll get a workout in. We'll get some content, but we'll definitely have another podcast that's more structured. I mean, obviously, this was just kind of like a little reunion podcast.
Any new ink or no?
No.
I saw the ring. What is the ring?
Oh, it's just my good luck charm.
Let me see it. Can I like?
You want to check it out?
Yeah, it's fucking sick. I saw it. Where'd you get it from? Oh, fucking heavy.
It was actually gifted down.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horse on here.
Yeah,
What is that?
it's kind of cool. I mean, a horse could symbolize a lot of different things. It has a horseshoe on it too, so that's kind of lucky.
Oh, okay. This is really fucking nice, bro.
Yeah.
Whose was it?
My grandfather's.
Okay. Did he pass?
A while ago, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I used to have a nice ring too, but I lost that shit, bro. I can't
Yeah,
wear
you know,
jewelry. I'll lose it.
I know. I don't really wear jewelry too much, but I figured, why not put it on? It's my lucky ring, so
It's nice.
yeah.
But all right, guys. Thank you guys for checking out this podcast. Had a good time. Jamie, thanks for coming by and doing this with us.
Thank you.
Nick, thank you as always. I'm Old School Matt. We'll catch you guys on another Buff Talk. Peace.
Hey guys, thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure to go check out all of our other podcasts, Buffalo Barbecues, our Buffalo Workouts, and also a slew of other things, including challenges and whatnot. So make sure to check out all of these different things. Thank you guys for watching. I am Old School Matt here, and this is Water Buffalo TM. Peace.